My daughter was used to not being included. And if points were the problem, why didn't you tell me? So I could pay for her ticket directly? No, this is not acceptable, I said firmly. Emma is my daughter, and if we're going on a family trip, she's coming with us. I'll buy her ticket. Cassandra rolled her eyes slightly. Fine, but I don't know where she'll sleep. And we've already planned all the activities for the four of us. That's when I realized. This wasn't an oversight. She had intentionally planned this trip to exclude Emma. All those weeks of planning had been done assuming my daughter wouldn't be there. I just nodded and said, I'll find a solution. And that's exactly what I did. After that conversation, I did a lot of thinking. This wasn't the first time Cassandra had subtly sidelined Emma. But it was certainly the most obvious. There had been minor incidents. Forgetting to include Emma's preferences when grocery shopping. Planning movie nights with films Emma didn't enjoy when she was with us. Accidentally scheduling activities with her friends and kids on weekends when Emma was home. I had addressed these issues before. And Cassandra always had an excuse. Or claimed I was being too sensitive. But this, deliberately excluding my daughter from a family vacation, crossed a line I couldn't ignore. So I made my plan. I didn't confront Cassandra again about the trip. Instead, I quietly cancelled my ticket for the flight she had booked. The airline gave me a credit I could use later. Then I booked 2 new tickets for Emma and me to go to San Diego instead of Orlando. Same dates, but a completely different destination. I had always wanted to take Emma to the San Diego Zoo and SeaWorld. And she had been begging to see the ocean. I booked a nice hotel right on the beach. Made reservations at some kid-friendly restaurants. And planned a full itinerary centered around things Emma would enjoy. But I didn't tell Cassandra any of this. As far as she knew, I was still going to Florida with them. However, I called my ex-wife to coordinate and make sure she knew about the change of plans. She was fully supportive. And even suggested some activities in San Diego Emma would enjoy. In the weeks leading up to the trip, every time Cassandra mentioned something about Florida, I simply nodded or gave a vague response. I packed separate suitcases for Emma and me. And kept them in my car so Cassandra wouldn't notice. The night before our departure, I told Emma about our special trip. I explained that it would be just the two of us, going to California instead of Florida, with Cassandra and her kids. Emma was thrilled. She had been a bit anxious about the trip to Florida anyway, since Tyler and Mia had been teasing her, saying she would have to sleep on a couch. On the morning of the trip, we all went to the airport together in my SUV. Cassandra, her 2 kids, Emma, and me. Cassandra's flight to Orlando was scheduled for 10 a.m., while our flight to San Diego was at 11:30 a.m. We entered the terminal together, and I guided everyone toward the airline check-in counters. Cassandra headed straight to her airline's counter, and I simply said, "See you at the gate." I took Emma to a different airline counter to check in for our flight to San Diego. After getting our boarding passes and checking our luggage, we had breakfast at an airport restaurant. By the time we finished eating, it was nearly time for Cassandra to board. I texted her, "Which gate are you at? We'll come say goodbye before your flight." She replied with her gate number, clearly assuming we were just running late and still joining them. Emma and I walked to her gate. When we arrived, Cassandra looked relieved, then confused. when she saw we weren't carrying luggage. "Where are your bags?" she asked. "They're about to start boarding." I smiled and said, "Oh, we're not on this flight." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what I said. Emma and I are going to San Diego." "Since you didn't think it was important to include my daughter in your family vacation, we decided to make our own trip." Then her face went through a range of emotions. Shock, anger, embarrassment. Tyler and Mia stared at us wide-eyed. "You can't be serious," she hissed, trying to keep her voice low, as people around us began to notice the tension. "Get on this flight right now." "No, that's not possible," I replied calmly. "I cancelled my ticket weeks ago. My seat's probably already been reassigned. And besides, Emma and I have our own plans." "Tell them you're ruining everything," she snapped, no longer caring who overheard. "What am I supposed to tell my parents? They're expecting all of us." "Tell them the truth," I suggested, "that you deliberately excluded my daughter from a family trip and assumed I'd be okay with it." Just then, the gate agent announced the start of boarding for her flight. Cassandra looked frantically between the gate and me, clearly torn between continuing the argument and getting on the plane. "Mom, we have to go," Tyler said to his mother, clearly uncomfortable with the scene. "This conversation isn't over," Cassandra warned me. "You're embarrassing me in front of the whole airport." I shrugged. "You embarrassed yourself when you decided my daughter wasn't part of your family. Have a nice trip." I took Emma's hand and we walked away, as Cassandra fumed with rage behind us. Emma squeezed my hand and whispered, "Thank you, Dad. We had an amazing time in San Diego." Emma saw the ocean for the first time. We spent 2 days at the zoo, one at SeaWorld, and even did a day trip to Legoland. It was probably the best vacation I've ever had. Simply because I got to spend quality time with my daughter, without anyone making her feel like an afterthought. While we were in San Diego, Cassandra bombarded me with texts and calls. At first they were angry. "How could you do this to me today? My parents are so disappointed. The kids keep asking where you are." Then they turned manipulative. "Tyler is crying because he misses you." Which I doubted. And finally, pleading, "Please come join us. We can fix this." I responded minimally, usually sending something short like, "Emma and I are having a great time," with a photo of us on the beach or at the zoo. When we got home, I found that Cassandra and her kids had extended their stay in Florida for a few more days, presumably to avoid the confrontation that was inevitably coming. I used that time to reflect seriously on our relationship. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that this vacation incident wasn't an anomaly. It was just the most obvious manifestation of a recurring pattern. Cassandra always treated Emma as less important than her own kids, and I had been making excuses for her, trying to make up for it in other ways, instead of addressing it head-on. But 3 days after we got back, Cassandra and her kids returned home. She tried to act normal at first, asking about our trip, as if the airport incident had never happened. But when I remained cold toward her, she finally brought it up. "Don't you think you overreacted a bit?" she asked. "You could have just told me that you were upset about the ticket situation, instead of humiliating me at the airport." I looked at her in disbelief. "Cassandra, I told you I was upset. You dismissed my concerns, like you always do when it comes to Emma." "That's not fair," she protested. "I treat Emma well. You tolerate her, I corrected. There's a difference. And I can't be with someone who simply tolerates my daughter. We had a long, difficult conversation that night. After the kids went to bed, I listed all the occasions when I felt she had sidelined Emma. And she alternated between getting defensive and offering half-hearted apologies. It became clear to me that she truly didn't see the problem. In her mind, it was natural to prioritize her own kids. And she expected me to understand. I think you need to find another place to live, I finally said. This isn't working. She seemed genuinely surprised. You're breaking up with me over a mistake. About a vacation? No, I replied. I'm breaking up with you because you don't see my daughter as part of your family. Even after 2 years together. That's not something I can compromise on. 6 months later. It's been about 6 months since Cassandra and her kids moved out. The breakup was messy. She tried everything. From tears to threats. And even mutual friends tried to intercede on her behalf. But I held firm. And eventually she accepted that it was over. Emma has been noticeably happier since then. She's come out of her shell more. Talks more openly about her feelings. And seems more comfortable in her own home. She's admitted that she always felt like she was walking on eggshells around Cassandra. Trying not to take up too much space. Or ask for too much attention. That broke my heart to hear. But it also confirmed that I had made the right decision. Some friends and family have suggested that I overreacted. After all, Cassandra and I had been building a life together for 2 years. Wouldn't it have been better to try therapy? Or find some kind of compromise? But for me, there is no compromise when it comes to the well-being and sense of belonging of my daughter. Emma deserves to feel fully included and valued in her own home. And by the people in her father's life. As for me, I'm focusing on being the best dad I can be. Emma and I have started a tradition of father-daughter days. Twice a month. See where we do something special together. Just the two of us. Sometimes it's as simple as getting ice cream and going to the park. Other times we do day trips to museums or hiking trails. I've recently started dating again. Very casually. And I haven't introduced anyone to Emma yet. This time I'm being much more careful. Looking for someone who understands that Emma and I are always a package deal. That Florida, San Diego trip taught me an important lesson. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your child is stand up for them. Even when it's hard or uncomfortable. Emma may not remember all the details of our San Diego adventure as she grows up. But I hope she always remembers how it felt to know her dad put her first. Hi, update. Hi, wow, I didn't expect this post to go as viral as it did. Thank you to everyone for the supportive comments and the awards. Since many people have asked for an update, I thought I'd share a few things that have happened since I wrote this. First, Emma's mom, my ex-wife, reached out after reading the post. Yes, she found it. Apparently, one of her friends recognized the story and sent it to her. She thanked me for standing up for Emma. And admitted she had noticed Emma seemed withdrawn after visiting our house, but didn't want to interfere. We've had good conversations about co-parenting. And we're on the same page about making sure Emma feels safe and valued in both homes. Second, believe it or not, Cassandra's ex-husband also contacted me. Turns out their marriage ended for similar reasons. He has an older son from a previous relationship. And Cassandra never fully accepted him. He said reading my post was like déjà vu. We met up for a beer. And had a surprisingly therapeutic conversation about the whole situation. As for Cassandra, I've heard through mutual friends that she's telling people I was irrational and controlling. And that she dodged a bullet when we broke up. That's fine. People can believe what they want. The people who matter know the truth. Emma is thriving. Her teacher recently commented that she's become more confident and engaged in class. Last weekend, she asked if we could start planning another trip, just the two of us, for next summer. I'm thinking Yellowstone or the Grand Canyon. Thanks again for all the support, everyone. To the single parents out there, keep putting your kids first. They notice, and it matters. Edit. Hi, many of you have asked about Tyler and Mia. A lot of commenters have expressed concern about Tyler and Mia, wondering if I'm still in contact with them, or if I miss them. The honest answer is yes. I miss them. Despite everything, I spent 2 years helping to raise them, and I care about their well-being. I tried to maintain some contact after the breakup. Sent birthday cards. Asked mutual contacts how they were doing in school, etc. But Cassandra has made it clear that she doesn't want me confusing them by continuing involvement. I have to respect that they are her children. And I have no legal rights to them. It's one of the hardest parts of breakups. In blended families, the non-biological parent often loses all access to the kids they bonded with. It's painful. But I have to focus on the fact that they have two biological parents who love them and trust that they'll be okay. If they ever reach out when they're older, my door will always be open to them. But for now, I have to respect the boundaries their mother has set, even if it hurts. Final update, 1 year later. It's been exactly 1 year since the airport incident. And so much has changed. Hi again, thought I'd share one last update. Partly for closure. And partly because many of you have kept messaging, asking how things are going. Emma is doing incredibly well. She's thriving at school, has made several close new friends, and developed a new confidence that makes me incredibly proud. We ended up going to Yellowstone this summer. And it was even better than San Diego. She's already planning our next adventure. She's pushing hard for Hawaii. But we'll see. As for me, I've been seeing someone new for about 4 months. Her name is Jenna, and she has a son, Alex, age 9, who gets along wonderfully with Emma. The first time Jenna came over for dinner, she brought a small gift for Emma. A journal with Emma's name engraved on it. Not because it was a special occasion, but simply because she wanted Emma to feel included. It was such a small gesture, but it meant everything to me. I've been very cautious in this relationship, making sure to take things slow and prioritize the kids' comfort above everything else. But so far, it's been refreshing to be with someone who instinctively understands the importance of making every child feel equally valued and included. Tyler, now 15 years old, reached out to me through social media about 2 months ago. He said he missed our talks and wanted to know if we could stay in touch. After getting permission from both his mother and father, we now exchange occasional messages, mostly about his interest in computer programming, something we used to work on together. It's a strictly platonic mentorship, with clear boundaries. But I'm glad he felt comfortable reaching out to me. Cassandra and I maintain a cordial distance. We've run into each other several times at community events. And although things are still awkward, the intense animosity has faded. I think she finally understands why I did what I did, even if she'll never admit she was wrong. The most important lesson I've learned through all of this is that kids are incredibly perceptive. They notice when they're being left out, even if they don't have the words to express it. And they also notice when someone stands up for them. The way Emma looks at me now, with total confidence that I'll always be on her side. That's worth more than any relationship. To everyone who supported me in the comments and messages over the past year, thank you. Your encouragement helped me stay strong during some truly difficult moments. And to the parents navigating similar situations, trust your instincts. When it comes to your child's emotional well-being, you're rarely wrong. This will be my final update on this situation. We've all moved on to a new chapter now. But I'll always be grateful for the unexpected community I found here when I just needed to vent about a little petty revenge. At the airport. Summary. My girlfriend planned a family vacation, but deliberately excluded my 10-year-old daughter. Instead of confronting her, I canceled my ticket and booked a separate trip, just for me and my daughter. My girlfriend found out at the airport when we showed up to say goodbye. Before heading to our own gate, the incident led to our breakup, when I realized she would never truly accept my daughter as part of the family. Edit. Thank you for the overwhelming support. To address some common questions. No, there were no financial restrictions preventing her from buying Emma's ticket. She had enough points for 4 tickets and chose to exclude Emma. Yes, I had tried discussing including Emma in our family on multiple occasions before this incident. This was the breaking point, not the first issue. Emma is doing very well now and feels much more comfortable and secure at home. Yes, I do sometimes miss her kids, but Cassandra has limited my contact with them since the breakup. For those suggesting I should have communicated better instead of resorting to petty revenge, maybe you're right.